I've been meaning to make a couple of videos, one of them being on what the signs might be, the signatures, the things left at the site of the Delphi murders. This is the case where Abigail Williams and Liberty Gernon were killed on the 13th of February 2017 on the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi. And it's interesting to me, this is a subject, because we can look at what might different types of non-secular signs, what they might mean in relation to who the perpetrator is. Where might they be placing themselves in life, in society, where they get to be around things that interest them, people that interest them, where they might get to rub shoulders with things or express certain desires or have some sort of subterfuge in relation to their real thoughts and feelings in life, So I thought that might be interesting, but I've been very sick. I've had, just skip the next minute if you are queasy at all thinking about medical things, but I've had what I don't know if it's a stomach flu, a gastroenteritis, or if it's a food poisoning of some type. And I'm still recovering. I'm just so sore all over, and all of my skeleton, especially my axial skeleton, because of the muscle and tendon contractions, etc. I mean, seriously, I thought I might bring up my own stomach. I thought I might die. It was awful. And so I've had sort of that, which has given me a migraine. I've got all sorts of auras and pain and weakness. So I haven't sort of been able to put any thought into videos about sort of themes, particular topics. I've made a little chicken video I'm going to upload. I'm babysitting a neighbour's hens, and that's all I've really managed to do is go and feed these chickens. I've had to have time off work, and I thought it would be interesting though. Viewers have mentioned some things that might be the non-secular theme. For example, is it Freemasonry? There's all sorts of things, and I thought we could discuss it and see where these people might come from in our society. Would you see anything to do with these things in their lives? Would it be completely private? There have been murders where these 50-year-old men have gotten into witchcraft, and one of them, he's killed his parents, and there's been witchcrafty things. And I'm not saying that I believe witches are evil or murderers, or that it's demonic or anything negative like that at all. This is the expression that a sick human being has given. He's committed murders, and he's also he's got a type of psychosis where he has used his knowledge but in a warped way, and it's a sickness, and it's evil, and it's the human being doing these things, and these things meaning something to him other than the root of these things. Sorry, I'm not going to talk very well today. I can't think clearly. I hope you know what I mean. So when I say this about anything, I'm not saying, okay, well, if it's witchcraft, it's because witches are evil. They just want to think about hurting people, and everything they do is to manipulate people for their own cause in a negative way, or to harm or anything like that. That is 100% not what I'm saying. And you need to, I can't tell you what to think, but I suggest that when you hear people talk in a certain way, please listen. Please try and listen to what's actually being said rather than jumping on something, because when you hear that and you're not understanding what someone is really saying. So you know, you're being defensive for a reason, and it's not helpful. Anywho, because I'm more open-minded than that. I think if you don't know if I'm open-minded, I think if you don't know if I'm curious, that I'm curious and open-minded and try to have right, you know, understanding about things, human nature and everything, then you've completely missed everything that's gone on this channel anyway. Another thing I wanted to mention then while I just checked in with you today is we know the trial for Laurie Cox and Chad Daybell is coming up, and you know, these two abominations are very ordinary people, and in some might say in Chad's regard, quite under par people. I'd say he's very under par as a writer. His writing is of a terribly low standard, of an extremely low standard. He would never, I can't believe that he even got published at first by someone else. Maybe he didn't, but what I wanted to talk about is the people that know and can tell you this clearly. You might be aware of already, but go to Kathryn's channel, Left Undone. She's made some extraordinary, interesting and insightful and informative videos about Laurie Cox and Chad Daybell and everything surrounding them. And she's starting a new series about them based on the fact that they are a cult. You know, where did they get their ideas from, and how did they develop them, and you know, how did they move through the process of creating their cult, and where did they want to go with it, I guess you'll go. You know, I've talked often over the last year or so about, you know, Chad, the Chadists, and the cult of the gathered. I mean, we truly can know that this is a cult. And I think it's important for you to know that don't think that because Laurie Cox and Chad Daybell are behind bars that their cult has stopped, because you know, that it's like a little pyramid scheme, okay? And you've got these couples that are put together, and off they go, and they will start their own little pods, and then those pods will spring their own couples that will go off and create their pods, and they spread the message that way, and they gather that way. It's a bloody pyramid scheme of a cult, and it's not relying on just having this singular, you know, Jim Jones figure. So these people, they are just super ordinary people, and it's often super ordinary people that do these extraordinary things, do these abominable things. And anywho, so I thought, look, you know, do your homework before the trial comes up. Wouldn't it be good for you to know all the ins and outs, who the characters are, how they're all interconnected, what the timeline is? You know, this will certainly endear you to the comment sections and to the live chat plays during the trial, when you're not saying, who's this, or what about this, when, you know, we already know quite a lot of facts. So go and watch Left Undone. The other channel who's doing a really great series is Debe of Chasing a Murderer. I mean, there's plenty of others, isn't there? But I just thought I'd mention these two women because they've done some really great works, and they're two different people who look at things from, of course, their own life experience and their own points of view, their own world view. And you know, it gives you, you know, some really different angles, but interesting angles, and they both want to deal in fact. And I think leading up to the trial, you know, brush up. You might feel you know the case already. Quite often, yes, you'll watch, you know, episodes in a series, and you're not learning new fact, but it's great to hear, and it's great to just have everything you know, it's like a bit of a study period, isn't it, before an exam. I'm certainly brushing up. Go right back on all of these videos these women have made, Left Undone and Chasing a Murderer, because it's interesting, you know, seeing through Kathryn's eyes, watching it unfold. She's also done some comic stuff about it. I know it's really not a funny subject. Trust me, Kathryn knows the weight of what she's dealing with too, the subject matter. But sometimes, you know, you do just need to lighten the mood. So that's what I just wanted to say today. I'm not sure when I'm going to feel well enough, even talking to you now for 10 minutes. It's quite exhausting. So I'm not sure when I'm going to do this science video, but it's something that I'm really interested in doing. I like these kind of videos. You know, I did a very brief, very basic video, which was the 7 stages of a serial kill, and I did the 7 deadly sins of Chad and Laurie. I really enjoyed doing that. So I'll get round to it. You know, about Delphi, it's such a, obviously any case, I mean, there's so many child murders at the moment, and cases of child neglect, child suffering, and you really have to wonder what society is coming to. But if you want to, you know, rebuild any of these damaged societies, like Delphi, for example, they need this case to be solved. They need to move forward as a town, feeling safe and connected and looking forward. They need to be able to look forward, and I feel like they must feel like they're in wet cement at the moment. Even to this day, you know, 4 years later, how can, you know, okay, it might be in the back of the minds of some people, but I'm sure it's affected forever. How people are bringing up their children, how they feel about their own town, how they feel about the people they're sharing their society with, their neighbours, etc. And they deserve to be able to move forward. So do the people of Evansdale, so do the people of any crime. And you know what law enforcement needs is information. You know, they need information. They don't need to be flooded with things that are going to make it hard for them to get to the right pieces. This often worries me when they've just got so many pieces of information. Is it 70 to 80,000 items called into the tip line by now for Delphi? That's an extraordinary workload, and you know, I hope that the majority of those tips called in have been done by people who are engaging their minds and their analytical thought process when they're doing it. And sure, intuition might have something to do with things as well, but you can't just call in and say, well, this person looks suspicious, you know, they've always, they creep me out. Yeah. I mean, they could be guilty of something. Isn't it interesting that we haven't had an announcement about Chadwell, James Brian Chadwell II, who was arrested not long ago for the abduction and abuse of a 9 or 10-year-old girl. That was a crime that happened in Lafayette. So there's a few towns surrounding Delphi that get talked about a lot. Kokomo, Lafayette, they get talked about in regards to all sorts of, say, criminal rings to do with sexual abuse, drugs, and corruption, whether it's to do with politicians, whether it's to do with funding and you know, property and that sort of thing. What is so extraordinary to me about the Delphi murders case is that there just seems to be so many ways you can look at this crime. But I think, you know, sometimes we've got to go with Occam's razor and think you've got to go with what is just most obvious and simple. And, you know, this was a case where a nasty person had something built up inside them. They wanted to release the fury, the hate, the need that they felt inside them, and they wanted to do it on that day, and they found Abigail and Liberty, and they committed a heinous crime, and that's the bottom line. You know, there doesn't have to be a conspiracy around every crime. It can be quite simple. It can be quite simple. It can be a simple case of clothing just being something that's common. It can be a simple case of one person. There might be two persons involved. I'm not sure. It can be interpreted that way. I don't really agree. It's very difficult. You want to trust law enforcement, you know, but do you have faith in them when they can't seem to give you a straight answer? And why do you have to keep giving them the benefit of the doubt, saying, well, this is because of the investigation, this is because they don't want you to know certain things, they're saying it for a reason. You know, to me sometimes the way people talk about law enforcement and the things that they make up around what they've said and released and that sort of thing, it sounds like a group of women sitting around talking about a guy and making the biggest mistake under the sun. They'll, you know, when a guy is being very clear about how he feels about a woman, which is that he doesn't, you know, prioritize her, doesn't rate her that highly. He probably maybe finds her attractive or convenient, and he uses her, and he's showing her he's using her because he's not doing anything other than using her. And the girlfriends sit around and go, oh, he has just been hurt in the past. He's been hurt in the past, and he's afraid of commitment because he's afraid of getting hurt. Oh, he is building up his business. He is so busy, and or he's just shy, or he's just taking his time because, you know, he doesn't want to make a mistake, or, you know, whatever it is, whatever lies they are telling their girlfriends, because essentially they are lies. You're not doing your girlfriends any favors. You should be saying, sorry, but a man, when they're interested, they don't want anyone else to have you. They will stake a claim. They should be saying, girlfriend, when a man is interested, you know. When a real man is interested, you know. He lets you know. He wants to spend time with you, so he will. If he wants to know you more than to use your body, he will let you know. You will know. You don't have to sit around thinking about it, worrying about it. Men let you know. If you have to sit around with your girlfriends trying to say, oh, but he's just been hurt in the past, he's just shy, or he's you know, frightened of getting hurt, then you're so deluded. And it's, you know, that is not helpful. That is not... It's not helpful. So, you know, is this what we're doing when we're sitting around analysing what Carter and Tobe have said, other than, you know, when we're trying to read between the lines? We don't know. We don't know what their motivation is, other than, you know, just try and balance up the fact and discard everything else. Don't build your case on supposition and even on intuition, which is, you know, I don't make definitive statements about things a lot of the time, because I'm only going on intuition. I try and get the facts and then go with what my intuition says after that, and only if it fits with those facts. Sometimes I'm just very sure, and I will stake a claim on something, but those generally aren't cases that are unfolding, because we just don't know. And I think a lot of true crime is degrading to some level, and it's becoming very much about not letting things unfold, not having that patience just to wait and see, but you have to try and explain. It's like what is happening very sadly with the case of murdered 4-year-old boy, case Gernon, in Dallas, USA, because what's happening around this now is that people are trying to create drama and content. They'll say they're not, but they are. They're creating their content by overanalyzing things like the shoes and the curtains and the person standing outside the window. Now, it's true, there is kind of around the little light there, there's an outline of a person. Is this a reflection of something? How would it reflect off a curtain? I mean, it does look like someone standing outside holding something with a light, right? It really does. Now, that's as far as I'm going to take that until we know more. But people are going to make, mark my words, hundreds of hours of content about this, and they're going to make outrageous claims which they will forget about in the following week when they make another outrageous claim, and they will be getting thousands of clicks. Okay, that's what they're doing. But you can't lose sight of this little boy. He deserves more integrity than that, you know. People are going to defend themselves very violently against this type of allegation, okay? But look at it for what it is, you know. Just look at what we know as it comes out. What do we know, actually? Talk to this long. We know that Trevor Gernon has come out with a statement. Now, he is someone that for the last few months has not wanted to go into custody. He's got many warrants out on him for all types of things, a lot of them to do with drugs. He's got some serious drug problems, as does Monica, who has kept these children in her home after Trevor Gernon dropped them off there and shot through, quite funnily, on Valentine's Day. Now, Monica, I believe, is holding this huge burning candle for Trevor Gernon, and this is why she's held on to these children, probably at much inconvenience to her and her disgusting lifestyle. Now, why am I casting aspersions on her about her lifestyle? Well, she's got a huge history with serious drugs and with other types of and with crime, and probably a lot of the crime driven and, you know, fueled by her drug addiction. And I'd say it's a meth addiction at the moment. And you know, this is not a person that Trevor should have trusted. If he was going to trust anyone, you know, he should have, he shouldn't have trusted her. He knew better. Okay, he knew better. He's trying to say, but I knew her for years and she's already a mother. She knows how to care for children. He has probably had a relationship based on drugs and sex with her. So he knows better, but it's suited him. It has suited this person to leave his vulnerable children with her. That's the only reason why he's done it. And he needs to be in prison for whatever the warrants are out for, but also for abandoning his children and not doing the right thing. This should be illegal. It should be, you know, I believe Monica should be in prison for holding these children, because she knew she didn't have a right to these children. She basically was holding them against their human rights. I mean, she's nobody to them, okay? She doesn't have capacity to care for these children, and they're not hers biologically or in any way whatsoever. And she should have contacted Child Protective Services, but of course she doesn't want to highlight herself. She doesn't want to bring attention to herself. This is why she hasn't done anything about it. You know, because it's this web of, you know, there's all these things being held against each other, you know, sort of holding each other over a barrel, you know, holding someone to hostage sort of in a way. So she had so much to lose. It's all, you could tell the weight of what this was going to be to her was evident in her wide-eyed, tweaking statement that she first made standing in that room. You know, all she was scared shitless that, oh shit, now I've brought attention to myself, now attention is on me, now people are going to be aware of me, now I'm going to prison. She tried to displace that attention by getting sympathy. Oh, I'm the mother figure, I'm a mother, we were going to adopt them, Cameron said, her son, 18-year-old son. You know, we were probably going to adopt these children, as if this family knows that they had no hope in hell of adopting these children. They weren't going to bring the fact that they had these children to the attention of the authorities. They're just sorry that they're screwed now because the spotlight's on them. Not saying they don't feel a little something toward these boys and everything, but that if they had true empathy, if they weren't fucked in the head, they would have known what to do and they would have done the right thing. So those children, Carter and Cash Gernon, should never have been in Monica Sherrod's household in the first instance. They shouldn't have been there where a predator could be obsessed with them and come for them. So we know that Monica has told Darian in the days prior to this heinous crime of Cash's murder that, you know, he's not to come back. She doesn't want him around because what? He was messing with Cash. Something happened. She was aware and she's done nothing about it because she values self-preservation over that child. That's not a mother, is it? She has made zero sacrifice. Everything she did was because she wanted something from Trevor. She wanted his gratefulness. You know, she wanted his attention. She wanted his favor. She hoped for a relationship. That's what I believe. And that's the only reason why she's done it. So basically she's been exploitative. She's been using these children for her own gain. That's not loving. And what happened? Some interaction happened between Darian and Cash Gernon days before Cash Gernon's murder at the hands of Darian. And yet, what did she do? Did she report it? It could have added some weight to already weighty complaints against Darian Brown from the neighbourhood community. What is disgusting in this case is Dallas police have not already had this person put in a psychiatric unit or in, you know, jail, awaiting charge for some of the already terrible things he's done. Okay, when you can get charged with harassment or, you know, abuse just by threatening it. And this is what he's done. Why were they waiting for him to murder a child when he's already threatened to kill a family? Yes, he's threatened a family in the neighborhood. He told them that he would come back and kill them. He's threatened children. He's been committing crime in the neighborhood. He stalks around. He's violent. I think he's a type 2 psychopath. He's sociopathic. He's got some serious mental health disturbances. He's probably psychotic. I'd say he's got meth-related illness. I'm not sure about what drugs he might be on, but I'm pretty sure he'd be a meth user. It just seems that way, you know. I don't know. I just think it seems that way, right? And so he's obviously a dangerous person, and yet he's still roaming the streets. This isn't all right. This is completely unacceptable. So those complaints have been ignored wholly, and, you know, for all intents and purposes, they may as well never have made those complaints because he's still out there on the street. And Monica, if she was okay, forgetting all that leads up to her having these children, she should have taken that to the authorities. I think it was something worrying. I think he's molested them or done something very, very telling, and it's been reported by the teenage children in her home. She has 4 children, Cameron 18 and a 16, 15 and 14-year-old. One of them is a teenage girl. I'm not sure which one. Teenager, obviously. What have they reported back to her? You know, Darian's well known to this family. He's had an incident. There's been an incident in her home. She's still done nothing. They're still sleeping in this unsafe garage, essentially. She hasn't thought, shit, I better bring their crib into my bedroom. I better bring them closer to me. Let's put the adult child, Cameron, out in this rumpus room. Let's bring the children into secure bedroom. You know, what has she done? Nothing, jack shit, because she's hopeless. She's useless. She's absolutely a loser. This is my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion, but she's a failure at everything. She's failed these children. Trevor failed these children. I don't want to get down on Dallas police, but doesn't it seem like law enforcement has failed this Dallas community? Why does it take these the crimes to occur, these final crimes to occur, when there's so many steps along the way where intervention can save lives? What? Yeah. I don't know. Monkey Ma is a good channel to go and watch for Cash Gernon videos if you haven't seen Monkey Ma. That's monkey with an I-E, M-A-R. Ma is her name. And yeah, she's a very level-headed person.